What's up? What's up? We are back with a special episode about the Jerrod Carmichael Show. I am joined by my friends, my brother. You might recognize him from BB23, The Cookout, Big D, or you might listen to him, hear him, remember his voice from the Heavy Crown Network. Welcome back to the podcast. Derek, how are you?
Hello, Brice, Isaiah, my brother on the Purple Pants podcast. I'm so glad to be here to talk about this show that I regret watching and I cannot wait to get into it. But thank you for having me once again as a guest. This is great. I'm so happy to be here, of course.
Yes, we love to have you here. And I started watching the Gerard Carmichael show maybe like a month ago when it came out. And I discovered Gerard from his stand-up comedy special. I think it's called like Roe Michael, and it's his stand-up comedy that won him the Emmy. And I thought that that comedy show was or that comedy special was so good. It's called Nathaniel Michael. Hold on, wait. Let me make sure I get it right. It's
I don't
called
even know because I didn't even
Ro-
know who he was, to be honest. Like,
so
I
he's an
still,
actor. He's been in
yes.
some shows, but he has these stand-up comedies on HBO. And the one that won him an Emmy is called Rothaniel. And what I do love about Gerard is that I love his comedy style. It's very introspective. It's very about himself. It's very like relatable in like him telling stories. It's like he kind of has dry humor, but I think that he's great. And in Rothaniel, because that's his real name. His real name isn't Gerard. His real name is Rothaniel. His dad wanted to honor his dad and his mom's dad, so he combined their names, and which is why his name is Rothaniel. So yeah, that's you got to get into the special, but also in the special, he comes out as being gay, and it is this big thing in his family doesn't necessarily accept it, or they have a hard time processing it. And for him, he talks about it in this special and in his comedy specials. And so that's really like my extent of knowing about Gerard. And so then this reality show came out, and I was like, let me get into this. I'm always looking for something to watch. And I really do believe that HBO or Max, like I love their shows and I love the content that they put out because it's like I haven't really seen a bad HBO series
I
before.
agree. They've been doing very well. I've kind of been checking it out and seeing what else I want to watch or shows or series and things like that. So, I mean, like how you discover him, I discover him completely different. I was watching the Little Nas X, concert tour documentary. And then it was like, once I got done, it was like more things you would like. And I remember you mentioning the show to me one time, and he was like, "You're not watching the Gerard Carmichael show?" And I was like, who? So then once I saw it and I'm sitting here, I'm like, whatever, let me just keep this night rolling and see, what else is on, TV. I just decided to put it on. And the first, like, I was hooked. It was just, there's so much to debrief. And
There really is.
I'm excited for us to talk about it because I think it's just very interesting to see. And I'll let you kind of start it off and tell us where we are. But just to see a black man kind of, a gay black man who's late in the game, explain his point of view and really be on brand with some of us that probably been out for since we were teenagers and stuff like that. So this is just interesting to see.
Absolutely. And so he starts, I guess, one reality shows, right? And reality shows like this, I have to be honest, I haven't seen a reality show this real probably since the real world days, since the Osbournes, since like I mean, because for me, I really do feel like this is cutting edge reality TV because it is very real. Now Gerard Michael shares with us that he is in therapy. since everything. He has a lot of things that he's working on, and he really feels like he wants to have some of these conversations with his parents while they're still alive to kind of like work through their process of accepting him and just in his life. And he feels like he wouldn't be able to do that if he didn't have the cameras. He feels like the cameras kind of give him some type of like protection, and he wants to like hold himself accountable. So in like the first episode, he talks about the Truman Show with Jim Carrey and how like he's trying to Truman Show himself. And so there is an aspect of that where I feel like it's real. And then like Big D and I were like watching an episode together yesterday, and Derek was like, he doing too much. Is this for the cameras? And so it's like hard to say, right? Because we don't really know Jerrod, right? All we know is what we see on this reality show that he is giving us about his life. And so for me, after seeing 4 episodes, it's like he is extra. He is over the top. He talks about him being anxious and his anxiety. And so it's like some of the times I'm like, is this really over the top or is this really him?
Uh, 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 it's really no. I do understand why he has the cameras there, because when you have the cameras there, it does put more pressure on a person to have to speak or like speak up, because I can understand where if you I think about my parents, and if I was having a conversation with them or things like that he's trying to make successful and trying to accomplish, I would have probably been like, my mom would have been like, get that shit out of here. Like, I ain't got time for that. I'm thinking about things like how parents are and how they act. But when there's a camera there, they're more of like they don't want to be embarrassed. They know people are gonna be watching this. So it's just like when you have company. Your parents are like, clean the house needs to be perfect. That's basically what this is. They want to make sure, like, and you're like, the house is clean. No, it's not. So this is how I compare it. But it is very interesting to see how real. And as you said, I have not seen a show this raw and this like real, probably since you said real world. I don't even think any of like the solo brand shows that do real stuff is that real. I mean, only thing I can say is real is maybe a baddies fight that happens on Zeus Network, but
Child,
or
not the
any of
baddies.
that. That's
Yeah.
probably the realest I would get. But I haven't seen like a documentary this real, and it is put together so well where I feel it
It's so
when I'm
uncomfortable.
watching it.
It's
So
so
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable sometimes to watch, but that's also how you know it's good. And I say it's uncomfortable to watch because Derek and I are both gay Black men. Our parents are or would have been around the same ages. So it's just very interesting. I also feel like with Jerrod being a gay Black man, I think a lot of what he is sharing in this reality series is real tea. How some and I don't want to like lump everybody together, but I really do feel like there is a lot of taboo things that he touches on that in the gay community, like it's common knowledge to us, but like we don't really talk about it. And so I love the fact that he is trying to kind of like normalize a lot of things. Also, some of the things it's like, bruh, I don't know if I would have said that, but kudos to you for saying that. And so he has 4 episodes out right now. They're 30 minutes, a really easy watch. And so what I love about these 4 episodes is that they're very specific topics. And I feel like
Mhm.
it goes into like for me what it is to be a gay Black man. Now his experience is different than mine, and we're not the same in a
Completely,
lot of different
no,
places.
completely different. But
But
can I ask you, do you have the titles of each episode?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay,
So
good,
the
because that would definitely
Yeah, I'm a
yeah.
girl. Let me cook. I got this. Like no, but it's like again, I believe Jerrod is 38, and so again, we talk about representation and how it matters, and so it's like so interesting to see someone that is around my age, and seeing him in himself. And so there are 4 episodes. The first episode is called The Emmys. The second episode is called Mike. The third episode is called Friendship, and the fourth episode is called Road Trip. Now, in the first episode, we see Jerrod, and mind you, this episode kind of took TikTok and a lot of social media by storm because, again, I feel like the subject matter of this episode, the Emmys, is really about you. You don't necessarily even have to be gay, but it's about like you having someone that you might have like feelings for, someone that like, and like it's kind of like almost rejection. And so I think that every queer person can relate to rejection, right? And so the first episode is called The Emmys. Jerrod's best friend is Tyler, the Creator, an amazing rapper who also is someone that we don't really know their sexuality. A lot of people call them bisexual, and a lot of Tyler's raps, he talks about, having sex with men. And he also, I don't know if you've ever seen the Sway Lee interview where he's like like where he's in the Sway in the morning. You know, Sway in the morning. And
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
I'm gonna need you to Google this interview where it's like Sway, you know how he has people rapping. Uh
Mhm.
and so he drops a beat and Tyler the Creator starts rapping. He's like, I'm up in the studio with Sway. We about to have butt sex with some cute boys. And Sway is like, what? Why would you say that? But uh, m- people love Tyler. He's so respected. And what I do love about Tyler is that like whatever his sexuality is, he doesn't let it affect him, and it doesn't affect him in this rap industry. And it's almost like he's like taunting them. So Jerrod and
Okay.
Tyler are really good friends, and in this episode, also what is important about his reality show is like it's infused with some of his stand up. So we really get to see when he's talking about his real life and his stand up, then the reality show kind of like mirrors what he's going through. And so the basis of the first episode is that Tyler or Jerrod comes to the conclusion that he's in love with his best friend or he has feelings for his best friend. And again, what I say is like rejection. Every person can relate to. I can remember being in like seventh grade, and I won't even say the person's name, but I remember it was this like boy that I was friends with in seventh grade, and like, I they were like the popular kid, and like we became friends. And then I just remember being like, oh, I love him. But I wasn't Jerrod Carmichael with it, but it's just very, very interesting how Jerrod kind of brings up his interest for Tyler. Tyler's response, I guess he sends Tyler a text message, and then Tyler sends him a voice note like, "Bitch, you crazy." And then they don't talk for like
I think
3
I
months.
think I think he said, I don't think he called him crazy. I think he said, "Bitch, you stupid."
Yeah, you stupid.
Which I was like, but I think that because he is a comedian and Tyler also finds himself very funny, I think he was kind of like thinking like, number one, he was probably like, okay, well, you're funny because we're friends, you know. So he's like, bitch, you're stupid if you fell in love with me, or something like that. But I find it very interesting. I want to go back to what you said about Tyler the Creator. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of confused. I guess maybe you don't. You know what? Another thing that we had to change in society, we always had to come out. We always had to say what
Right.
we're into and stuff like that. So I appreciate it's a double entendre. I appreciate Tyler not being like, oh, I want to let everybody know I'm bi or
Right.
let everybody know I'm gay or what I'm into. It's like he ain't gotta say nothing.
For what?
But I also because he is a rapper and because of how the rap community is, I think it's also something empowering because it should be a negative thing, but it's also empowering to say, oh, I'm gay or I'm into men, because then it opens up that door that they try to always close when it comes to gay people in the rap industry. So I think that it would have been even great if he was able to state that, but he doesn't have to. So that's why I said it's a double-edged sword in that
Yeah.
type of situation.
I also, and so another thing is, then there's this hotel scene where Jerrod invites Tyler to the Emmys because he has won this Emmy for his special, and Tyler can't come. But then Tyler comes to the hotel for them to talk. It's the first time that they have seen each other. And when I tell you awkward, it is so awkward because I look at it from Tyler's perspective of like, one, your friend is saying that they're attractive to you. Two, this is like your brother. And so three, it's like you want to let them know that you're not interested in them. However, they're your friend. So you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to like lose the friendship. And so it's like this weird dance that Tyler and Jerrod do while they are eating food in the hotel. It's like so awkward, and there's so many TikToks about it. And it was funny because I kept telling Wendell to watch this show because I was like, it is about a gay man's experience, but I also feel like he's a black man. And I feel like throughout these episodes, there's so many things that I feel like black men can get out of. And before I really even seen all the episodes, and then I was like, here I am telling Wendell to watch this show. And I was like, wait, I don't want Wendell to think that I'm trying to tell him that I am Jerrod and he is Siler. However, when we were in Pittsburgh, me and Wendell filmed the hotel scene, like we reenacted it. And it is so funny. So if y'all are listening to this, you'll have to let me know if I should drop that to my Instagram because it is
Please do.
funny. But
Please do.
it's so interesting and so awkward in this scene of them
It
kind of
is.
like going back and forth, but also like how real is this scene
It's
of
very real because also he got food delivered, so he was like, "I'm eating my fucking food," like, and they ate together. It
and
was
then
very
Jerrod
awkward.
being how they were having a conversation. Jerrod, you can clearly see is so upset that he's not even eating.
Yeah,
And he,
I think it's hard. It's no one ever wants to be in a situation to tell. I mean, let me tell you something. You're telling your best friend that you like them or
or
like
just
them, love them, or whatever,
or
whatever.
just somebody that you like, just being that
Yes,
vulnerable and that
yes,
rejection.
yes.
And for me, so that's one interesting point of it, right? And also Jerrod is at the height of his career. He's getting ready to get an Emmy. And another piece that he touches on, which I just think is crazy, but is real, is that sometimes when you get rejected, what's the best way to cope of your feelings? And Jerrod clearly shows for us that how he is coping with this rejection is getting on
Oh, girl.
gay dating apps and hooking
Oh,
up with people. Now, this
oh,
is a very taboo
oh.
situation, and it's
Mm.
like seeing this on TV is crazy, but it is a part of this gay subculture, specifically with gay men, because let's talk about it. And one of the reasons also why I do love this show is because he is bringing to light a subculture that you and I, Derek, know exists. Of this
I don't
cat.
know why you're including
No,
me
but
in
I'm
this
not saying
because
that you
I'm not into.
participated. I'm not saying that you participate. I'm not saying that I participate, but girl, you know,
No, the way that he is showing the audience how like this is like when you look up POV, like he is showing us exactly what this is like, what it's like being a gay man and then also being a gay black man too. So showing us the POV of his messages on Grinder, showing us how like
them coming to the
them
hotel while
coming
the
to the
cameras
hotel,
are there, and
showing us how
girls is
the
nasty
cameras in
because
there.
they don't even care.
They don't care. Like, let me. But you got to think about it nowadays with how our society is. I mean, everyone's recording everything, so it's like these guys are probably like, oh my god, this is like an upgrade for my OnlyFans. Like,
Okay,
I'm about to be on HBO Max. Like, yeah, for sure, I'm coming up, and you could film whatever you want to film. But it's just I think the part for me that also makes it awkward too is just like watching him with these guys sitting on the couch,
putting their
making
toes in his
out,
mouth.
toes in his mouth, and the camera guy. And I love how real it is because then the other camera guy pans to the other camera
And you
guy
can see the
to
other camera
show
guy
him
backing out like he like, all right, I done seen enough.
right,
They ain't
like
paying me for this.
showing them, recording them, and then it's just like talking about like what they're into, what they like, what turns him on. Like it's very, very like if you're talking to your best friend and like you're telling them exactly in the private of just you and your best friend, but now it's not private, it is worldwide. Like everyone can see this. So now with him doing this, he's giving everybody an insight of how awkward it could be hooking up, but also showing you how straightforward it is. And
Yeah,
we have seen this on maybe platforms of heterosexuals seeing straight people and things like that,
but
but we've never seen it at a homosexual level where it's like now we're showing you how we, not all of us, we all go about it a
but
little different, but how somebody could could be like this.
Yeah, and also it goes to show like the casual sex culture in the and I can only speak for the community that I know of like the gay man community. It's like, I mean, literally, if I wanted to, I could get on my phone right now. Somebody could be in my house in 2 minutes. Like that's it, and it's crazy and it's taboo, but it also is something that is so real. And I also feel like there is a negative stigma with it, which is why people don't talk about it. And so I do appreciate Jerrod for giving a glimpse into this world that is the gay hookup scene, because it is a thing, okay? Like it's a thing. They call it cruising at some places.
It's
Like
it's it's
it's
it's a thing, and I feel like every gay man has explored or have done it or have used some type of app or tried to maybe meet somebody and things like that. It is a way, like you said, it is a cruising app, as they say. And some people use it for cruising, or you might some people find the love of their life, depending. But it's the only thing that's so normal to all of us that we are accustomed to and know. And I'm not sitting here pointing out anybody, but I'm just saying in general, we all talk about it. We've all used it or have explored. So now here it is on a in your face, like this, like it is here. You're seeing it live action. They're showing us what the messages are
right. And it's
saying.
so
They're showing
real.
us, they're so real. Then, like, one of the guys, if I'm correct, that this is the same episode, one of the guys is like, yeah, I liked your body. You had no face, but I
Yeah,
liked your
right.
body.
That's
And they're showing they're like this. It's just his body. And it's just like,
just
you
again
came over here just because his body?
exploring the depths of this casual hookup culture where people it be blank
Blank, blank,
profiles, and
blank.
people give their
It's
addresses
just
and
this,
like,
yes.
yeah, and so
How crazy. How crazy. Now that is the crazy part is that when you sit there and now when you watch it, you kind of sit there and you go, wow, we really live our lives on like edge. Like we could be on multiple. Like this would have been Jeffrey Dahmer's dream. He would have ate this all up. He would have had double the amount of people that he killed. This would have been like
but
great for him.
I also, again, because I do think that there is a stigma and there's a negative condensation with this like hookup culture. But also I do believe that it doesn't have to be. I think for me personally, when you seeing something like this on TV, if it's something that is you're not familiar with, is very jarring. And I think a lot of the negative condensation comes with this is because when you think of like gay sex, what's the first thing that you think of? AIDS, the AIDS epidemic, right? And so seeing
True.
something like this is crazy. But also, I think that like one, you should always practice safe sex. I like,
Amen.
but
Always.
I also feel like the times have changed. The girlies have prep. There are things that are now in this culture that can make it a little like safer. And so it's like it shouldn't be as stigmatized as it is, but it is just so jarring to see it, but also it's like so real because it's like you, and so
Of course.
it's just it's a lot. And so that is the first episode, and then it kind of transitions into the next episode, which is called Mike.
And I do want to say it was very good to see, just to kind of go back, love watching him get ready for the Emmys. We
Yes,
saw him go
yes,
to the
yes,
Emmys.
yes.
We saw him talk about the date. And I do want to point out one person that he
Okay.
did bring. I could not get over whoever he brought, the guy who would not, which I was like, this is,
Oh, his
it was
friend, his one
crazy.
of his friends,
Was
but
it his friend? Because he
it was
kept
his
wearing a ski
it was
mask.
his
And
friend, and
okay,
essentially
cool.
saying like, and this is one of Gerard's friend that essentially was saying like, girl, what you doing is crazy, and like there is reality and then there is your real life. And he's like, you're bringing this into your real life, there are ramifications for it, and once it's like you can't get rid of it. And the friend was so like adamant about it. The friend had a mask on and they were disguising his voice because he was like, I love you, but I'm not going to support this, like I can't be a part of this, like you need to
Mm.
kind of check yourself. So it's interesting to see that everybody in his life is not for this experiment
Which
that
is
he's doing.
interesting. This is very interesting because if you think about it, which we'll get into it, it seems like everybody else at some point when we talk about it is showing their face. The fact that his friend is not showing his face now makes me a little curious to know, is his friend on the DL? Is
I
that
don't
why he's not showing his
I
face?
well, I
Now
mean,
I'm being a double advocate. If
I don't
everybody,
but I think the friend was also making a point, like,
of course.
I'm not you not opening up my life to this life, to your life, to the like all of this, to all of this. But great point. Thank you for bringing that up. And so the next
Mhm.
episode whew, is called Mike. And so then we learn that Jerrod is in a relationship. Mm, Now this kind of like I won't share a lot of my opinion, but
Mm,
this kind of struck a chord with me. And also, there was some controversy in this episode because Gerard's boyfriend is a white man. Gerard very specifically says on this episode he has a type, and everybody can have a type, and nothing wrong with having a type, but his type is a white or Latino twink. And essentially, what that is just a skinny white or Latino, like small frame person. And so like nothing is wrong with that. And that's what Gerard likes. And so I don't know. Struck a chord with me just because I respect Gerard and I love what he's doing. And I don't know. It just struck a chord with me. I am for it. You can love whoever you want to love. You can like be with whoever you want to be with. But again, for me, like representation matters a lot. And so it's like for this black gay man who is like, for me, it's like, oh, like look at our lives. And then for him to essentially like be like the black gays like myself, like I don't know. It just it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but I understood it and I got it. And so there was another controversy with him talking about his boyfriend. He made like a joke about his boyfriend reads so much, and that Gerard loves that about him, and that Gerard doesn't read enough. And Gerard is used to being like the smartest person in the world. He made a joke that it's like sometimes he feels like his boyfriend is the slave master and he's teaching him how to read. And so that caused a lot of controversy. And people were saying, like, oh, Gerard's into like race play and all of this stuff. He went on the Breakfast Club to clear it up. And he was very adamant that, like, he's a comedian. His stuff doesn't need to fit into these societal things, but like he was made it very clear that the joke was about reading and not about anything else, which was kind of a little unclear. But it was interesting to see that Gerard even mentioned that a lot of the people that have been giving him the most slack were coming from like racist KKK people and gay black men. And so I was just like, oh, like maybe I'm not the only person that kind of felt some type of way. So that was interesting. But with his boyfriend, Gerard reveals that they're in this new relationship. He's found his person. He really likes them. They're exploring. But Gerard talks about in this gay cruising casual sex scene that it's hard for him to be in a monogamous relationship.
I want to cut to this. When he said the whole race thing, I really thought he said race play. Like, I thought when I was watching it, I thought that's what he said. I thought he was saying, like, whatever, going over the different things that, he's into, feed, piss, whatever. And I thought he said race play. Like, I thought that's what he said.
I
And I was
thought
like,
it too, but
whoa. Right. So
when
maybe
he
I
went
need
on
to
the
go back.
Breakfast Club,
I don't
he
know. I need to go back and watch it. I'm about to pull it up right now just so I can hear it because I swear
but
he said
again,
race place. But
also taboo. People like what they like what
and
they
that's
do.
okay. That's okay. I'm a okay. That is perfectly fine. I do want to say this. Yes, when in a society, just like in life, it is very hard to sit there and say what you're into or what you're like without being judged. And it's not that everyone has each to their own. There's people that are like, I only want to date people that are tall. So that means you're cutting out everybody that's short. So with it being 2024, I could understand him being a black man, him being like, he's like the first like, black man doing this like show that's so real, so raw. And then it's like, of course, we want to see us being who we are, black love, black power. We want to see that. So I can understand where it's a little bit for yourself, a little bit like damn, like I was like, I wanted to see something you could relate to and watch, because not say you could relate to it to a certain extent, but it would have been even more hitting home
Right.
for you if he was into other black men and things like that. So I understand, because when I watch TV and I watch these reality shows, I want to watch people that I could relate to, people that I could sit there and be like, you know what, I'm so into this. So it's very interesting to say that, but like you said, we can't. Everybody's into something,
Right.
just like like women are into certain things, men are into certain things, gays, lesbians, everything else, they, them, and all. So I think the most important thing that we had to take away from this is that I found it very interesting that when he said it's very hard to be in monogamy because of this cruising app. And we also, in this episode, if I'm correct, he's going to therapy. So it's like he is trying to figure out exactly, like, does he have a sex addiction because of the fact that he cannot stop finding these men, hooking up these men, and then he says he's in love with this person. It really did make it frustrating for me, because I was kind of watching this just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, is it really that hard? Like, is it
But
really that hard?
I again, I this is some of the nuances that I appreciate Gerard for bringing to the table, because like let's talk about it. Like let's talk about the sex industry, the porn industry. A lot of people have addictions that they don't really acknowledge with this era of the internet, porn, like there is studies that show that people are less intimate with their own partners because of porn, right? And so you couple that with porn and these cruising apps. Like I think what Gerard is making a good point of, like, I love this person, I want to be with this person, but these desires that I have seem to kind of they win over. Also, let's talk about monogamy. Like that's a social construct. And I'm not saying that open relationships are for everyone, but again, it leads for me, it's more about being honest. And I think that we through this we see that Gerard lies to his boyfriend about being faithful, but then comes clean on it. But my thing is like, eh, your boyfriend love you clearly because y'all still together today after all of this has come out. Like, why not have this relationship with, or why not explore the options of like, hey, what about an open relationship? And let's explore it. Let's make
But
rules. Let's
open,
make
but
things like
open, but here's another thing I've realized. An open relationship to me, I mean, this is my point
to
of view.
you, right?
We're getting a little bit deep here, but an open relationship to me is only going to be successful after it's sustained a manageable monogamy relationship.
So I mean,
So
I
you
don't know if
can't just
I've never been in an open relationship, but I don't know if that's true. I for me,
you cannot tell me,
I,
listen, you cannot tell me a successful, I'm talking longevity, babe. We're talking about getting to the wedding, we're talking about getting to the aisle, getting married, being together for the rest of your life.
I
There's
know
no way. Me and you just met, Brice. Me and you just met. I want us to be together, but let's be open. That doesn't make any fucking sense. That's
it
not it's
doesn't, but that's not for us. But like the good thing about being gay, the LGBTQ plus community, we're not a monolith. Everyone, like people are different. So for me, I feel like the basis of it is trust and honesty. And if you have trust and honesty, which clearly Carmichael Gerard and his boyfriend don't, because we see it, but like you're gonna, who's to say? I don't know.
Oh, of
But
course. I just think it's very, you know me. I'm just very like,
I mean,
I
I'm
don't
with
know.
you. I'm not saying
I'm
I
just saying,
disagree, but
based on how he's acting and how he's like, I think I have a sex addiction. I think I have all this. It doesn't seem, he might love this guy, but he doesn't love him enough to know that he's the only one. That is the
but
thing.
well,
And
I think because
I'm gonna get you today. I'm gonna get you. You
it
are
is
trying. You
it
are
is
you.
an
This is
addiction,
the
right?
debate. It
So
is an addiction, and
so
you
I'm
can fix that
saying,
addiction.
and he is doing the things, he's in therapy, he's bringing the boyfriend in. Again, it's like it's somebody that's like an alcoholic, that's like a parent, they love their kids but they love the liquor, and sometimes that addiction, it like, again, I'm not making excuses,
I
but
get that.
I do think that he is highlighting things of society that like we don't talk about because it's so taboo, and people are just like, oh, he cheated, it's done. He's bringing it to the forefront. And so with that, I can respect it. And if he is working on his addiction, who's to say? Now, the part that gagged me is that they're in couples therapy. And when we say this reality show is real, first of all, they are long distance relationships. So the boyfriend comes every weekend, every other weekend. But as we're watching the show, we see Jerrod's app going off. We see boys coming to the house, and then when they're in therapy, the therapist asks Jerrod, have you been since the last time that you've told Mike? And Jerrod's like, yeah, no, I've been faithful, been working in, and I'm working on this. Now we get a confessional from the boyfriend that says in that moment he heard what Jerrod was saying and believed him, but he said the way the camera person zoomed in on his face at that moment led him to believe that the camera crew and people were aware of something else, because why would you zoom in on my face for this reaction if there's nothing to contradict it? And again, it's just like, but also what we see of Jerrod through him cheating, through him doing all of this, is that like he loves his boyfriend. Like, like he talks about him. He really wants to explore this. But then it's like you get up in this man's face and you lie. Like, why are you lying?
I
And
think that's what
it's
I'm
just
getting
like,
at. I think
but
that's
that's
what
what
that's
men do. That's what people who cheat
no,
do. And
we're
so
showing they're cheaters. Yes,
mm,
absolutely. But this is where I just feel like it's also being selfish. This is why I don't have respect for people that are cheaters. Just sit there and just be single. You can still date this man. It's simple just to say, can we still date and hang out and be single? So then like I can like figure this out. And then once he gets, because at some point I will tell you this, either right, either this, either just like you related to alcohol, right? Either you put the alcohol down, or the alcohol ends up killing you, or something like that, right? It's one or the other. Or you get to a point where I don't know. I've never met I don't know, somebody would have to tell me in the chat. Like I've never met people that are used to be alcoholics and
or
then they
cigarettes. Cigarette is addiction. Like that's what I'm
there we
saying.
go.
Like,
Same thing, same thing. So I'm just saying at some point you have to sit there and either you put it down or you end
I
up
don't think it's that simple though, Derek. And I don't mean to cut
I
you
don't think
off.
I don't think
Like,
it's I
right.
don't think it's that
It's
simple. I'm just saying I'm just saying my point of view up to this. At some point, he's either going to it's gonna hit him upside his head to go like because let me tell you something, when you're having sex so much, and I know we might get into it a little bit later, but when you're having sex and hooking up with random people so much, at some point it knocks you upside your head where you start feeling dirty or you start feeling like, oh my God, like I'm just like I have so many things I can't even keep up with who I'm hooking up with or what I or where I got this STD from or this happened and stuff like that. You can get to that point in your life. I've heard and talked to people that happened to. So at some point, he's gonna have to get it together because
and that's where I
it's
say though, that's where
yeah.
trust and respect comes in at,
But
because
why
if
not? That's what I'm saying. But I'm glad that the boyfriend's not dumb. But I also think the boyfriend is dumb to
but
still be staying with him
I
with
mean, but
all this.
see, that's where I feel like you're being too judgmental, because it's like,
How am I being judgmental if
well,
somebody's cheating on
but
you?
it's easier to say that when you're on the outside looking in. But if you are in a relationship that you love somebody, you be like I've
Bitch,
been in relationships where it's like I've stayed extremely too long, and me now I would be like never. But when you are
baby,
wrapped
let me
up,
tell you something. If I don't know, listen, if I don't know, I'm just saying my point of view. I'll give you an example. My ex, when I was 21 years old, ended up getting engaged to somebody on Instagram Live. Didn't even know there was another person that he was seeing in Florida. And I had to sit there and take all that in. Now, if I would have knew he had this other person, I would have been out. And I understand love is weird and people stay and people go through it, but I don't know. That's just me. I don't
yeah.
understand how people
I
do that. So
I don't I think that it's easier to say what you would do when you're not in that situation. And again, if somebody is coming to you and saying they have this issue, like, and you love them, working through issues is hard. And so again, why I love this show is because it invokes these type of conversations. It invokes this. It don't have nothing to do with him being gay, black, like, you know what I mean? These are things that relationships go through, that people struggle with. And so again, as jarring and as awkward as it is like, wow, this is kind of real. And so we get to meet the boyfriend Mike, and that, Jerrod loves and wants to work through, but he's having these issues. And again, we learned that he wouldn't have a lot of these conversations if it wasn't for the camera. And so I love it. Or I don't, it's just interesting. And it's like,
No, it's very interesting, and I think that anyone who's not watching it, even if you're gay, straight, hetero, whatever, watch it. It's very raw. It's very to the point. Like to the point, I text probably every gay friend in my phone after watching the second episode, this episode, and I was like, I need y'all to watch this. Like, I need more people to talk to about this because it's crazy.
it's so crazy. And then the third episode is called Friendship. Now, this is the episode that probably hit me the absolute most, where I felt like I've never heard or seen someone that looks like me talk about the things that go on in my head that I just keep to myself. And so this episode is about friendship and about how Jerrod is such a good, loyal friend, has a lot of different friends. But sometimes he can be a very selfish friend where he is just all about himself. And he talks about people getting married, birthdays, and this and that. And he's just like, sometimes I just don't want to go. Like, I just don't want to go. I don't got nothing to do. I love my friend. I want to be there for my friend. I support my friend. But like the day of, I don't want to go. I just want to do what I want to do and just be in my own world. And ooh, baby, when I tell you that hit me like a ton of bricks, because I felt it. And it's like so hard to explain, where it's like, oh, I love my friends. I want to like help and respect. But also it's like, I just ain't got it in me today. I just want to sit in my house with my plants. And so it's like seeing him talk about this, and then he gives examples of, he has this best friend that he's had from high school that's getting married. And Jerrod's like, his hesitation of going, he didn't really want to go. Then he went. When he went there, he had ordered a tux. He didn't realize that he was supposed to wear all black for his best friend's wedding. He's supposed to give the speech at the reception. Jerrod goes out to get a black shirt so that he can match the wedding. And then as he goes out the day of the wedding, after he arrives to like the wedding, and they're like, "You supposed to be in all black? Like the groom's the only one in a white shirt." Jerrod's like, "Oh, I'll go get a black shirt." Jerrod goes to get a black shirt. He missed the wedding. The friend that
I was very disappointed in this situation, and I understand. And this is where it definitely hit home. It definitely hit home for you. I definitely understand that based on things that you have talked about. I am always going to be an advocate of certain things. Okay, a funeral, a wedding, those are really the top two, like top
but
two. But
okay, shut
hold
me
on,
up. Shut me.
hold on, sis, hold on. A funeral, a wedding, um, and depending
You gonna say birthday.
on the birthday, depending on the birthday number, right? I feel like those are occasions that it's not about you, it is about the person that you say you care about. Now, if this is a person, this is where I agree with you. If this is a person where like we're not really that close, this ain't my sis, like this is somebody from a long time ago, don't take on the responsibility of saying yes to things that you don't want to have responsibility for. You can simply sit there and say, which is fine. Hey, I don't want to be a groomsman, but I will attend your wedding or whatever, bridesmaid or whatever, because there's money and time. And his friend, this is where he didn't go this deep, but I'm going deeper. His friend, who probably spent arm and leg to do to be a part of, like, to have this wedding, money, time, effort, everything, who probably can't afford this, probably went a lot into it. Where for Jerrod, who has money, it's not that deep of a situation for him. Because let me tell you something, when you have money, this is the type of mind frame that sometimes you could think about. This was being selfish. He was being selfish in this situation. He shouldn't have been selfish. That's why I found very interesting when I was watching this episode. That's just my point of view.
Yeah, no,
And
yeah.
and I don't think that it's okay to say I want to be in my own space. I don't always want to do what everybody want to do. I get that because I'm the same way. So that's my thought. Now, go ahead, sis. Give your thought.
No, I agree. I don't think it has to do with money. I think that yeah, Gerard is in a very comfortable space in his life, but I think that again, him doing this show was like pulling down the walls and just revealing different things. And I'm not agreeing with how he goes to approach it, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have those thoughts. Like, yeah, my friend might be getting married in like, a year. I'm like, yeah. Then the day of comes and it's like, I don't know what my spirit is like. I don't know what my week has been like. And it's just like, oh. And for me, it's like, you have to go and perform. You have to show up as the person that they want you to show up as. But the reality is that like, your mental might not be in that person. Then you have to like perform. And so that's where I got what he was saying. And I just hadn't heard someone talk like that before. And I was just like, oh my God, like I'm not crazy. He then has another best friend that, and this is just an interesting subject where it's like he has a best friend that's been a good friend of his. She wants to pursue her acting career. He has now the finances to help support his best friend. But the reality of the situation is that she might not go anywhere, right? Like she might not do anything. And it's like he struggles with, do I tell my friend like hang it up flat screen or do I continue to support her? She has moved into his home. And again, if he's somebody like me who I live by myself, I was thinking like, oh, he's moving, she's coming in. Like, and me, I am somebody that I live by myself. My home is my sanctuary. And of course, my friends could come over. Of course, you could spend a night for a day, a 2 day, a 3 day, but 2, 3 weeks. I don't know about that. Like, and so it's interesting where you see like they show these clips of the friend like just playing music, sitting on the laptop, and then the cameraman will pan to like Gerard in the kitchen just looking at the friend, or Gerard being upstairs in his room and like looking down at her like, when are you going to leave? Then it's like, Gerard talks about cleaning up and like he's cleaning up, and the friend's like, if you think I'm gonna clean up, I ain't cleaning up today. And what I think is so interesting is that like it's his best friend. So it's like you would think, oh, if I'm staying at somebody's house, of course I'm gonna clean up. But the best friend is like, child, I'll get that later. And then this is another weird thing that Gerard does for her birthday. She wants all of this fun and great stuff. What Gerard does is he gets an apartment for her. And so he's like, welcome to New York. Here's your apartment. And for him, it's like, I'm getting rid of her. I'm getting her out of my hair. I need my space back. But then Gerard reveals to the camera, like, well, I only paid it for a month. And I don't know when I'm going to break it to her. But like in his way, that is kind of him being like, okay, you want to make it in New York, you want to get an actor career. Like, yeah, you have this rich friend that can help you, but you're kind of on your own. And so it's like a part of me got that a little bit where it's like I don't want to have the uncomfortable conversations with my friend, but here let me kind of it was just interesting. What was your take?
Oh, absolutely. I think it was very interesting. I definitely understand that. Like your space is your space. So I get that. Like I can't imagine, but I think for me is that she wasn't respecting his space. I think that when you respect someone's space, especially in that tiny type of space, she wasn't cleaning up. She was being loud. Like you just got to be considerate when you're entering someone else's space because sometimes some people can sit there and say, "Oh, I love having my friend here because." They're not in my way. She was getting in his way. She was doing the most. Like, and because that's her friend, she feels like I've done, like, basically, she probably felt, and I understand what she felt like. She felt like I've been with you from the beginning. I've done things to help you get to where you're at today. So, yes, this time around now, it's like, you're talking about you're going to take care of me and make sure I'm good. I expect you to take care of me and do good. I think the apartment thing, I think if he really wanted to do a good gesture, he could have at least said, I'm going to pay for the first 3 months to give her some time to find a job or something like that and
She
get
already
her
been
feet.
staying with him for a month though, so it's like she already got 1 month free. Now you get
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just thinking. I get what you're saying, but yes, I think 3 months would have been a good proper gesture. I think giving me an apartment for a month and then telling me Not even telling me. You might tell me if he don't tell her ASAP that rent is due the next month. Like we don't know what her income is. I still don't know what her job is. I just know she's trying to be an actress or
She
something
quit her
like that.
job. She like
Then there
she's
we go. Yeah, no,
she,
that's
yeah,
not
she
good.
she quit her job.
That's not good.
But again, I also feel like, it just explores the relationships of friendships and like how when you have newer friends, longer friends, just the expectations, just an interesting subject matter and topic. Just thought piece and just again real ish. Now, baby, the last episode is the episode that Derek and I watched together, and it's called Road Trip. And we know that Jerrod and his family have an estranged relationship because of him coming out. They're very religious. I guess he came out on his birthday on a phone call to his mom and dad. The mom said that, like, that's not a son of mine. This isn't right in Christ. The dad essentially was like, I didn't raise you to be like this. And this is all from Jerrod's perspective. And so he has an estranged relationship with his dad. Also, we know from his stand-up comedy, Rothaniel, is that his dad had an affair on his mom for like 30 years. He fathered 4 other children in this neighborhood. I think even in the comedy special, Jerrod talks about how one of his best friends in high school went over to, so Jerrod's best friend went over to his aunt's house. Jerrod's best friend went over to his aunt's house, not related to Jerrod, and saw Jerrod's dad laying on the couch with his aunts. And Jerrod's friend, who knows Jerrod's dad, is like, Mr. Carmichael? And Jerrod explains the story where, like, the dad was like, I know that's not, I don't know who you talking about. But so Jerrod just has this relationship with his dad that's kind of strange. And again, as like a black gay man, a black father, an older man figure, it's just interesting to see them kind of like navigate this. Jerrod says that, like, he, even though his relationship with his mom is strained, he has he'll call and talk to his mom, doesn't really talk to his dad. And so they want to go back to the dad's hometown, so they take this road trip. And so it's just very interesting because it's like, it's very
Bitch,
interesting.
it is. In the first 4 minutes of the car ride, he starts going into, Dad, or do you want to meet my boyfriend? He's talking to him. He's basically talking to his dad, like getting his dad open to what we're going to be talking about. So he's like, Dad, do you want to see my boyfriend? Would you want to meet my boyfriend? And Dad's like, do I want to meet your boyfriend? And he's like, do you want to meet him? And he's like, I mean, do you not think I want to meet him? And he's like, I'm asking you, do you want to meet him? And he's like, I mean, yeah, sure. He's like, you don't want to meet him. Like, he wanted his dad to be like, yeah, of course, I want to meet the person that you love. Like, he wanted to be, and which we can all relate to that. Like, he wanted him to be
But the
excited to meet the
dad
person.
clearly like
Yeah,
through the questioning that Jerrod was asking him, we got that the dad essentially was like, well, I don't really want to meet him, but since you
yeah,
want me to meet him, I will meet him. And
him.
that's
Yes,
different. Like, I will meet him as opposed to I want to meet him. And
yes.
I got what Jerrod was trying to put down, but this is
Mhm.
where Jerrod,
This is where Gerard went completely left. Okay, he
because
goes.
let me
He
set it up.
says,
Let me set it up because, like,
"Yep,
right. So
yep."
we have this older black man in his 70s who's by all things a dad, and we already see through the questioning that the dad's like, I don't really want to meet the boyfriend, but if you want me to meet him, I'm gonna meet him. And so Jerrod is like, do you want to see a photo of him? Derek, please take it away.
Gerard's like, "Do you want to see a photo of him?" And Gerard starts going through his phone, and he's like, "Here he is."
And that's literally the type of wait, why you got that? You want one of them apps there. That is literally, like, it's literally a photo
It
of
literally of his.
the boyfriend in
Oh, and these
underwear
type of
and
underwear.
the
No,
little
these
box.
exact. No, this exact underwear. This is the exact underwear he showed his dad. Could
And
you imagine? And it was just a lot because let me tell you something. Number one, you first of all, when you show a picture of the person that you say you're loving the relationship, why would you show a picture of your partner in their underwear or
To
something like that? No,
anybody.
not even a straight person would do that. Nobody and no human would do that. If I'm showing a picture of a person that I'm dating to my parents, I would show them something that's presentable, that's something that they would be like, "Oh, you're so cute," or something like that. Not
Yeah. And Derek was like, "This too much." Derek's like, "He's
I
too
had to. I
much."
had to. I was pissed. I was so
Yeah.
angry because it felt like to me now in this moment,
You're trolling.
you're trolling, but you're also trying to shove it in his face, and it's like he, it's a way to go about it. You can ease into it. I think about how when I first talked to my mother and told her I was gay, and then how she is today. It's stuff that had to ease over the course of time. We still haven't had those like conversations about like who I'm into or what I like, but it will if I ever do date someone, I will be able to say, oh, this is someone who I date and who I love. But there's no like he just took it so like it really just made me hit my hands up in the air. I was like, Jesus Christ, like what are you doing? Just sit there. Like it was just like he was trolling. That's what I
And
thought.
mind you, you should have saw the dad. The dad was like, and then also the camera, like it's
the camera it's the
it.
camera should get a raise.
They
The
really
camera
should.
crew is so good with making sure they're not just like, oh, let me just get both of them in the shot, baby. They're like, here's one. The camera is flipping back and forth to make sure you get the shot of both of their faces. No matter if it's awkward, and then it's awkward because dad kind of, you could tell if that
He was
camera wasn't
over it.
there,
Oh, you can
dad
tell
would
your
have
dad way up. Right,
he was
right.
gonna curse him the fuck out because dad kind of gave the look when he's driving. He's like,
Like, but also Jerrod talks about this is also why he wants the cameras there to have these conversations. And so me playing devil's advocate, although I'm on you with this one, it's like, is Jerrod trying to emulate or is he trying to show up as his full self to his parents, right? Because it's like you should be able to be your full self to your parents and like whatever it is,
not.
but
It's okay to be
but
full
there's
self, but not.
limits.
There's
Well,
not. Yeah,
right. But I
not no
mean, there are
sexual
some
type of pictures like that.
there
No,
are some there are some people that have those type of relationships with their parents, but I mean, I
no.
that ain't for me, but it was
It's okay to
interesting. And
say
so,
you're having sex or something. Like it's
oh,
okay to not. I mean, like it's okay to say like, oh, I'm. If your parents like, are you being protective and things like that. It's okay to have those conversations, but I wouldn't dare like be like showing my parents like I'm basically my man or woman in
but
their
that's
underwear.
also the problem in the Black community when you have parents like Gerard's who are like, "Oh, this isn't the son of mine. That ain't godly." So,
Of
but
course,
they aren't having conversations about safe sex and different things like that because they're just avoiding everything. So it's like there is some nuance to like what he is trying to do. However, the rest of the road trip, they're in an RV that's just we don't know if it's an old like if it's the dad actual RV or did they rent an RV. I hope that Jerrod didn't rent this RV because if he did, I would hope that it's like you would have rented a nicer one. However, they go on this 4-day road trip to get to South Carolina and
as long
progressively
as for his day
long as
trip.
it only take 9 hours. So me and Derek was confused as to why it take 4 days, but whatever. Um, but we can see as the road trip is going how just being in that car with Jerrod and his dad, like we can see their bond like strengthening. Jerrod is very interesting. He wants some I forget the name of the chicken place that he wanted for breakfast, but he
Wasn't it
the
like Jollies, Jolly Bees, Jolly,
Joe
Jolly
Jangles,
Jollies? Yeah, Joe Jankos.
some
Yeah.
southern fast food
Mhm.
restaurant that
Now
like
keep in mind he also crashes the car.
he also crashed the car. Also, the battery in the car died. And mind you, the dad get out and start to fix it. Okay, the dad is doing he under the car, he over the thing. But also shout out to dad though, right?
Yeah. He definitely I'm telling you, like, as how my dad was, because my dad was older, and he reminded me of my dad. And I remember having to be able to like hold my dad up and walk him around places as he got older. So it was definitely hit a lot of strings for me watching him, with his dad and how his dad maneuver and stuff like that. He's like, my dad's not, there's nothing wrong with him. He's just,
Older.
which older, and stuff like that. And I know one of his jokes was, there's nothing wrong with him. He's just carrying the weights of his sins, which I thought was just fucking wild.
Right, just interesting. And we see them getting stronger, or like we can just see from when Jerrod first got into the car to when they are in South Carolina, just how much more like cohesive they are. Jerrod wants this food, but he is a stickler that like the restaurant has to have like over a 95% rating. And you can even see the dad like, oh Lord Jesus, please let the food that's made over here clean. Like we can see them bonding. Also, very interesting. Jerrod's dad is, I want to say, in his late 70s. He's from South Carolina. They booked him at one of the hotels. They pulled up to the hotel, and it was a nice hotel, but it was essentially like an old plantation. And the dad was like having flashbacks, and the dad was like, "I can't stay here." And so Jerrod had to call his assistant, and then they went to the good old Marriott. You know, we love the Marriott over here. And so again, just seeing those real life things about his dad that 70 something years old, that although he was not a slave, the dad also talks about how when he was younger, he used to work in the tobacco fields, and he's explaining like how he would work. And Jerrod's like, but you weren't getting paid. And his dad is like, well, no. And Jerrod's like, well, that that sounds like a slave. Like, like that sounds the mentality of it. And again, they're in the South. And so we get to see all of these like historical contexts and Jerrod having these moments with his dad, and everything is going good. And they fireworks, they're hanging out with the family. And then the episode ends where Jerrod is at the fire with his dad. And Jerrod has four other siblings outside of his dad's marriage with his mom that lived in the same town as them, that went to school with Jerrod. And Jerrod wants to have this conversation with his dad because Jerrod also is like, I see myself in my dad in my relationship. Like I'm stepping out, and and so he asks his dad some questions like, did you feel bad when you were stepping out on mom for all these years? And like, how did it feel? Jerrod also explains to us that he feels like his dad enjoyed that other family more than he enjoyed his family with him. And the dad was not about it. The dad said, I knew this. 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 And he's like, you talk about all the feelings that you have about you coming out. How about the feelings that I have? How, like, you're trying to embarrass me. You're trying to make it public. Jerrod's like, make it public. I said, Jerrod's like, you're the one that made it the most public. You fathered children outside of your marriage. That's the most public thing you can do. And so Jerrod kind of sticks it to his dad a little bit, where he's like, your way of handling it is not talking about it and sweeping it under the rug. And he's like, you can't criticize my way of bringing it up. Yeah, I might have these cameras, because the dad is also like, is this going to be on the special? And Jerrod's like, maybe. But Jerrod kind of like tells his dad, yeah, the way that I'm going about doing it, it might not be the best way, but it's the only way I know how to do it. And I am attempting to have these conversations. I want to meet my other brothers. I want to and yeah.
You could tell he's frustrated. You could tell that he's like passionate, and he feels like you said, he has these cameras, so he knows he's protected. He doesn't have to worry about his dad lashing out or trying to hit him or something crazy. So he's just like, I'm going to give it to you. I think the delivery could have been a little bit different, but because he is feeling like, parents used to say, I mean, use this old term. The parents used to say, like, you smelling yourself. So I think in that moment, he was like, I'm very power and high almighty, so I'm gonna say it how I want to say it. And I think it's also frustrating because the dad should explain, where he was coming from. This was also a way for the dad to explain where his thought process was and things like that. But I think because when dad signed up for this, he was like, we're talking about you and our relationship. He wasn't trying to involve everything else. So, and it was very hard to see because I don't want to say I feel bad for both parties in this situation, because you could tell on the dad's face that he's just like, I didn't want to talk about this, but he was also like, I don't know what to do. And it ends with the dad just saying, in such a it was like I felt like the dad was gonna cry. He's like, "Can I go home?" Like he's just so shut down and defeated. And then I
Yeah.
was just like, okay, like I don't know what to do. Like I tried my best.
Yeah. It just was a realistic ending, not the ending that we wanted to see, but a realistic ending. And I think that like the dad saying, it's about our relationship. I don't want to talk about that, but Jerrod is
Mhm.
like, but that has everything to do with our relationship. It's just like that. I don't know. It's just that time that sometimes our parents aren't perfect. Our parents are human.
Of
But
course.
also sometimes it's like we have to hold our parents accountable. And I think
Yeah.
that, that was one of the moments. And it just kind of, the episode ended and my mouth said,
I remember your mouth being like just sitting there. I was also stunned because I didn't know what to think. And at this point, I just know because we're kind of leading up to it. I feel like we're leading up to him meeting with his mother. No matter what, it's coming at some point. Either we get it this season, or if he gets renewed for another season, for sure. But I really will say I don't think this is something I want to see, and the reason why I say that, this is so authentic and so real and so captivating. I wanted to continue this freshness of how real and captivating it is. I hope it doesn't get to a point where they start getting really super produced. If it stays the way it is, keep giving me seasons of it. But I
the season ain't
also
over. We got
no,
more
I'm just saying.
episodes.
I'm just
But
saying in
yeah.
general, because usually seasons end in 6 or 7. Okay, with HBO, maybe 8. 8 is usually their max with these series. But I'm just saying, I think it's going to lead up because keep in mind, the dad did call his mom on FaceTime and talk to her and stuff like that. So that was interesting. But I mean, it was a powerful episode, Bryce. I'm very glad that I'm watching it. I hope that other people get into it because I think it gives them an insight of a little bit of what we go through and what we grow up as being Black gay men and how it is. I don't condone everything,
I
but
mean, it's his
it's
experience, right?
interesting.
It's not our experience, but there are pieces of his experience that we can relate to. And I also think it doesn't limit just being Black and gay. I think that him just being so authentic, there's stuff you're going to agree with, stuff you're not going to agree with, but I guarantee you there will be something that like you can relate to, because it really is that raw and that real. And so that's why we wanted to come and give you our review on the first 4 episodes of the Jerrod Carmichael Show. We thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Derek, so much for your time. Derek, what you got over there, going on with you? I know you're covering Survivor every week. What else? Tell
Yep.
the people what you got.
No, just covering Survivor each week. Of course, on the Heavy Crown Network. I have the royalty show that I do with myself, Tiffany and Hannah. Other than that, just getting ready for my road trip to go to Chicago. Maybe I need to hire this, film
We gonna
crew.
get on that
Because
minivan. We gonna get on the RV.
I might have to get this RV because I'm telling you. But yeah, getting ready to go to Chicago for the first time. I'm so excited. Cannot wait to see Chicago.
Every day, Derek
And
texts me every time I talk to Derek. Derek, it's like, I'm moving to Chicago. I'm like, Derek, you've never been to Chicago, but I love Chicago. So Derek is
love
so
it.
excited for Chicago. So excuse me if
I'm
I'm rolling my eyes because I am so tired. I cannot wait till we get to Chicago. I'm going to take a photo of Derek everywhere because this man is so excited to get to Chicago.
I'm so excited. But other than that, everything is good. I'm watching the show. I'm actually today going to see what else I can find on HBO Max because I mean right now I've been so captivated by everything they've been dropping. But this is great. So
It's a lot. Well, thank you
yeah,
so much, Derek. Let us
thank
know in the
you.
comments what you think about this episode and our review. And we will come back after the season concludes and we'll give you the second half of our take. Thank you guys for listening.
Bye.
It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.